Breaking around the corner. Cha Eun-woo on envy, growth, and the price of success. In the shimmering world of fame, where applause echoes loudest but whispers travel faster, envy is an invisible companion. It trails success, clings to every breakthrough, and often weighs heavier than the trophies on one shelf. Few understand this paradox better than Cha Eun-woo, the South Korean idol actor whose rise to stardom has been both dazzling and difficult. Recently, Eun-woo shared a thought that captured the attention of fans worldwide. People are always envious when you break things around the corner. At first, the statement puzzled many. What did he mean by breaking things around the corner? But as fans replayed his words, the deeper meaning became clear. Success doesn't always unfold in plain sight. It's born quietly, out of view, in corners where few are watching. And when you finally break through, envy naturally follows. This article dives into Eun-woo's philosophy of envy, his own journey through its shadows, and how he continues to shine despite the murmurs that come with his every step forward. Before we talk about envy, we must remember the boy who first dreamed. Born Lee Dong-min in 1997, Eun-woo grew up like many others, balancing schoolwork, friendships, and quiet ambitions. While his looks often set him apart, he didn't begin his journey assuming the world owed him attention. In fact, his early steps in the entertainment industry were hesitant. His first audition rejection, as we explored before, left him questioning his worth. But Eun-woo didn't quit. He reinvented himself, learned resilience, and pushed forward until opportunities began to open. The boy who once stood in the corner unnoticed would later become the man who broke through those corners with undeniable force. And with visibility came envy. When Eun-woo said, "People are always envious when you break things around the corner," he wasn't speaking literally. He was describing the quiet grind of ambition. Breaking things symbolizes disruption, the act of challenging norms, achieving milestones, or stepping into spaces where you weren't expected. Around the corner reflects the unseen labor, the hours of training, the tears shed in private, the sacrifices nobody applauds. Put together, Eun-woo's metaphor reveals a truth. When your private efforts finally manifest in public success, envy naturally arrives from those who only see the outcome, not the struggle. In K-pop and Korean dramas, envy is as omnipresent as the spotlight. Fans cheer, but critics lurk. Peers support, but competition brews beneath the surface. Eun-woo, with his multi-talented career as a singer in ASTRO, a soloist, and an actor, has seen both sides. Some dismiss him as just a pretty face, overlooking the hours he pours into vocal rehearsals and acting workshops. Others envy his ability to transition smoothly between music and acting, ignoring the sleepless nights and self-doubt behind the scenes. Even within fandoms, rivalries fuel envy, comparing him to other idols, questioning his casting choices, or doubting his artistry. And yet, Eun-woo never retaliates with bitterness. Instead, he acknowledges envy as proof of impact. Every milestone in Eun-woo's career has been preceded by quiet, unseen corners where he toiled alone. Before Astro's debut, 2016, while fans only saw the polished group debut, Eun-woo remembers the long nights of trainee life, practicing choreography until his legs shook, recording demos that rarely satisfied producers, and enduring the emotional roller coaster of uncertainty. Before his breakout acting role, when cast in My ID as Gangnam Beauty, 2018, critics initially scoffed, saying he was too handsome to be taken seriously. Few knew the hours he spent working with acting coaches, learning to portray depth and vulnerability beyond his visuals. Before solo projects, transitioning into solo music and global fan meetings required stamina. He rehearsed until his voice cracked, perfected English lines to connect with international fans, and even battled exhaustion to keep smiling on stage. These corners were invisible to the public eye, but once he broke through his success, envy quickly replaced silence. Eun-woo's statement reveals maturity. He knows envy is not merely a burden. It's also a strange validation. On one edge, envy cuts deeply. Rumors spread. Achievements are minimized. Strangers question your worth. It can drain energy and overshadow joy. On the other edge, envy sharpens ambition. The presence of envy signals that you've reached a level where others feel threatened or left behind. It means you've broken through. Un-woo embraces envy not as a curse, but as evidence that he is disrupting, evolving, and leaving marks others cannot ignore. When Un-woo spoke about envy, fans didn't just sympathize, they celebrated his honesty. Across social media, phrases like breaking things around the corner trended, inspiring not just fans but everyday dreamers. Aspiring artists resonated with the metaphor, realizing that private struggles often precede public breakthroughs. Students drew strength, apply his words to exams, sports, and creative pursuits. Workers in competitive industries found comfort knowing that envy is not proof of failure, but of progress. Un-woo had once again turned a personal reflection into a universal lesson. People call Un-woo the face genius, but his true genius lies in resilience. Beautiful faces are born, but resilient hearts are forged. He learned early on that rejection was not final. He discovered that envy was not personal, but systemic, a natural response to visible success. He chose to channel negativity into discipline, allowing envy to fuel rather than derail him. That resilience is why, years after his debut, Un-woo is not just surviving the entertainment industry, but thriving, diversifying, and expanding globally. Today, Un-woo's influence reaches far beyond South Korea. His fan meetings sell out across Asia. His dramas trend globally on streaming platforms. He graces magazine covers not just in Seoul but in Paris, Tokyo, and Manila. And with every international step, envy multiplies. Not just from rivals, but even from parts of the industry unaccustomed to his rapid rise. Yet, he remains grounded. He knows envy will always exist, but so will his determination to keep breaking new corners. Un-woo's reflection isn't just for celebrities. It's for everyone navigating competitive spaces. Private effort matters most. The world only sees the result, but your real power comes from the hours invested in silence. Expect envy, don't fear it. Envy is the tax you pay for growth. If no one envies you, maybe you're not breaking enough barriers. Resilience beats recognition. Applause fades, but resilience endures through every corner you break. At only his late 20s, Un-woo's journey is far from over. He has hinted at exploring more serious acting roles, deeper solo music, and even producing. Each new step will take him into fresh corners, unseen, unglamorous, and grueling. And each breakthrough will invite fresh envy. But if his past has proven anything, it's that Un-woo is unafraid. He will keep breaking, keep disrupting, and keep shining, even when envy surrounds him like a shadow. Picture Un-woo in a dim rehearsal studio, mirrors stretching across the wall. The lights overhead buzz faintly, the floor is slick with sweat, and outside the city hums oblivious to the storm brewing inside. He's not surrounded by fans, cameras, or red carpets. He's surrounded by silence. Only the thud of his sneakers against the wood, the echo of his voice as he practices lines, and the persistent whisper of doubt. This is the corner he talks about. The place where no one is watching, where failures accumulate like dust, and where breakthroughs happen quietly. One night, as he collapses onto the floor after hours of practice, he laughs to himself. No one is there to witness it, yet he knows he just crossed a barrier. He just broke something in that corner. And though no applause followed, he understood that envy would eventually meet him when the results surfaced. Fast forward. Un-woo steps onto a stage for a fan meeting. The crowd screams, camera flashes burst like fireworks, and his name is chanted in unison. For a moment, it feels like victory, but alongside applause comes shadow. Online comments dissect his looks, question his talent, and compare him endlessly to others. Too perfect, some sneer. All visuals, no substance. The envy is palpable, and Un-woo knows it. He doesn't flinch, though, because in his mind, every envious remark is proof that the corner he once trained in, unseen, uncelebrated, has now exploded into the public eye. The envy isn't a curse. It's a sign he has arrived. A scene of contrasts, the corner and the spotlight. One of the most dramatic contrasts in Un-woo's journey lies between the corner and the spotlight. The corner, a place of vulnerability, where sweat, mistakes, and solitude reign, where he questions himself, breaks down, and rebuilds. The spotlight, a place of glory, where cameras capture perfection, where fans scream, and where critics sharpen their knives. Most people only ever see the spotlight. Few ever imagine the corners. Yet without those hidden corners, there would be no spotlight moments. This is what Eunwoo means when he talks about envy. People envy the breakthrough without ever understanding the unseen battles. There's a story that Eunwoo once shared during practice days. After a long session, an older trainee looked at him and muttered, "You'll never have to try as hard as us. You already have the looks." It stung. For hours, Eunwoo replayed those words in his head. He could have let envy and bitterness crush him. Instead, he stood in front of the mirror that same night and pushed harder, singing until his voice was raw, practicing expressions until his face ached. That night became cinematic in his memory. Sweat dripping, determination burning, the silent declaration that he would never let looks define him. He would earn his place. And years later, when that same trainee watched Eunwoo on television, perhaps envy returned in a different form, this time born from watching him break past expectations. Eunwoo's reflection isn't confined to the entertainment industry. It's a universal truth. The student who studies alone while others party, breaking limits in a corner of a library, the entrepreneur working in a small cafe at midnight, breaking ideas into life away from the spotlight, the athlete training at dawn while the world sleeps, breaking records first in silence, then in stadiums. When success finally comes, so does envy, not because others see the hard work, but because they only notice the result. One can imagine Eunwoo after a long day of filming, stepping onto a balcony in the dead of night. The city stretches endlessly before him, neon lights flickering, cars streaming like veins of gold. He leans against the railing, listening to the muffled chaos of fans below, the buzz of his phone with messages, and the occasional harsh headline online. For a brief moment, he closes his eyes and whispers to himself, "They envy because they don't see the corners." That private mantra steals him. It reminds him that envy is not a wall, but a shadow cast by the light he has earned. Interestingly, Eunwoo's fans, though not present in every rehearsal, have become partial witnesses to his corners. They've seen his exhaustion on stage, his trembling voice during live sessions, his small mistakes that reveal his humanity. Instead of envying, they admire. They understand that for every polished performance, there are hundreds of unseen hours of imperfection. Fans become allies in his philosophy, repeating his words in their own lives. If people envy me, maybe it means I've broken something worth breaking. The question now is, what's next for Eunwoo? He has conquered acting, music, and international fame. But every new project means stepping back into a new corner, an unfamiliar script, a fresh challenge, a higher expectation. And when he breaks through those corners, envy will return as it always does. But so will admiration, inspiration, and respect. The cycle is endless. Corner, breakthrough, envy, resilience. And Eunwoo has learned to dance with it gracefully.